The officer deliberately moved his foot away from the mine in order to teach the new recruits. As the officer stepped on the mines again and again, the recruits were stunned. But instead of being scared, the officer was full of scorn. It turns out that this is an anti-tank armored mine. Even if 20 SOWs press on it, it won't explode. After a false alarm, the officer quickly restored order and led the troops forward. At that moment, one of the recruits noticed something flashing on the roadside. When he got closer, he found it was a dagger. He was just about to pick it up when a noise suddenly came from under his feet, so his comrades rushed to call the officer. After checking, the recruit stepped on a Type 92 anti-infantry mine. If they weren't careful, the whole company would have been blown up. The situation was critical, so the captain told his men to fall back. He had no choice but to take the risk. Then the officer said he'd move his feet on the count of 3, and he would step on the mine instead of the soldiers. If it doesn't explode, everything will be fine. If it does, everyone will have to resign themselves to their fate. Soon the captain began to read the seconds, but on the count of 1, the new recruits began to tremble with nervousness. But when the count reached 2, an accident happened and the soldier let go of his foot and ran away. The officer never thought that he hadn't counted to 3 yet, but the recruit was afraid of death and ran away. Just when everyone's guard was down, the officer made a shocking move. He frantically stepped on the mine, but it didn't explode. The recruits were dumbfounded by this scene. The officer proudly told everyone that this is not an ordinary anti-infantry mine. It's an anti-tank mine. Even if a dozen men stood on it, it wouldn't explode. Then he asked the soldiers to dismantle it and take it away for future use. But they didn't realize that this mine would be their salvation. Soon after, they received a telegram that a large number of enemies were coming their way, but they couldn't fight them with only a small force, so they planned to set up an ambush on the enemy's route to buy time for the evacuation of the army. But just as they were mined in a secret tunnel, enemy tanks appeared on the other side.